Hi everyone, this video is all about gardening, so if that's not something you're interested in, you probably want to skip this video. If you are interested in gardening, let me preface by saying I am not an expert. I'm just trying to do as much research as possible based on research by experts, so I can definitely have a successful garden, fingers crossed. And this video is kind of the what, why, and when of my garden plan and layout. The garden needs a lot of work at our home. It had been vacant for a while, and gardens just get crazy overgrown even with a month's neglect. So this is just prepping and planning for the garden. I wanted it to be a primarily functional garden, so I want every plant to have a purpose or a use or edible. Prep, at least for gardening, needs to be done starting in January. So I wanted to get a head start on this, figure out my layout of the garden, the timing for planting indoors versus outdoors, and I basically want this garden, sorry, my son is in the background so you may hear an occasional baby noise, but I wanted my garden to be primarily a useful garden, not just pretty to look at, but I wanted every plant to have a purpose and something that I could use. You can hopefully follow along throughout the seasons and see the progress and maybe lessons I've learned and things that worked successfully. So I really hope you will join me on this journey, because this is the first major garden I've tackled in my lifetime. So I'm really excited about it, and I hope if you are interested in gardening, you will be excited too. First off, I want a garden that is edible almost in its entirety. Pretty and decorative, but I want everything in the garden to have a purpose. I'm investing time and money into it, so I would like it to return some of the favor. So let's just start at the main entrance. I have just laid it out with the current layout of the garden just to make it a little bit easier on myself. On the prior owners of the property, whatever they planted, I don't think they strategized or did any research. So I don't think I'll be able to make use, unfortunately, of any of the plants. There is one rosemary bush that seems very healthy, but it's kind of hard to tell because of the time of year, because it's not like the prime season for it. So I kind of have to wait and see with that plant if it's diseased or anything where I have to take it out. But unfortunately, yeah, I think any of the other existing plants I'll probably have to discard. First, I thought about what for sure I wanted to grow. And then I researched what other plants benefit the plants I want to grow. Next, I looked at what is required for the soil for each plant and what is required for spacing, and calculated that with the other plants, what would complement it, what would work with it. So all that being said, this is what I ended up with. Let me go through each of the beds. This garden is pretty substantially large, like deceptively large. So I'll go through each bed. There are, how many beds are there? A total of, there's like a total of 9 raised bed sections in this garden, in various stages of needing repair, but just the same, it's pretty substantially large. So I had to just kind of tackle one at a time. Start with bed number 1. The first bed, I wanted to plant peppers in. Oregano and rosemary, both herbs, protect peppers. How do they protect peppers? Apparently herbs generally repel bugs, the bad ones. So I opted to plant herbs here. I also opted to plant dahlias They are semi-resilient, and I'm primarily looking for something to replace the thorny, I think it's a thorny rose wild bush there that really doesn't have a function or purpose. You want to have flowers in your garden that are open-faced, easy for bees and stuff to get pollen from, because they help keep the garden healthy and vibrant. Hi. Hi. The herbs will also protect the flowers, and the roots of the dahlia are hardy. They will come back perennially. They also attract good bugs that scare away the not so good ones, and any flower that is relatively open-faced, as I said, is great for a garden. All right, going on to bed number 2. Started here, this would be on the left side of the entrance, a long narrow bed. I wanted to start here with hot peppers. Good companions for them are leeks and celery, both of which I also wanted to grow. Why do they all benefit each other? Any type of onion apparently fights beetles that are attracted to hot peppers. Celery and hot peppers like each other because their overall maintenance is similar, and peppers act as shade for the celery, which requires a lot of hydration. I also added ginger here because it defends hot peppers from bad bugs as well. And peppers return the favor by acting as a shade plant. I wanted to grow bok choy and tatsoi because I love cooking with them. They both like radishes because the scent of the radish, which is very strong and peppery, much like an herb, confuses bug predators. I added cucumbers in the bed because they get along well with all of the high water content vegetables that I already have planned for this bed, and are also protected and defended by the bug fighting plants I've mentioned before. Cosmos, not space, but the flower, are a natural anti-inflammatory. They also attract butterflies and bees, which I obviously want to be in the garden. Tansy is another flower. It is a pretty yellow flower that is a natural insecticide. I did not know that, so it's a pretty flower, but it's also a great insecticide. So it's not only great at protecting the tempting veggies, it is also great to pick in bouquets for your house to keep the flies away. So, Emery, stop moaning. It's a natural insecticide, so it's great to put in your home in bouquets if you want to keep the flies away in the summer. I'm definitely going to try this and see if it actually works because I've never tried it. Bed number 3. This bed is relatively smaller than the rest. It's really small, actually, and I thought it would be interesting. It's like a little square next to the garage back door. I thought it would be interesting to attempt a lime plant here because I love limes. I love them in so many different types of food. So I'm going to try it. It does require to be kind of solo by itself. I put calendula plants here in front of the lime plant because it is also a functional plant in itself. It's a medicinal herb. It also repels bugs and nurtures the soil, and also comes back each year, so that's a plus. Bed number 4. Emery. Looking at what works well with corn, okra works well because they, like many of the other plants I chose, they do require similar things, so they complement each other. Because they require Apparently, if you treat sunflower faces or heads like corn, you can roast them similarly to corn. And some people add ranch to it, and apparently it's very tasty. So I am curious to try that if my sunflowers end up really healthy. Okay, bed number 5. The largest this is the largest, most central of the gardens. Original owners used it for planting pumpkins and squash, but I would rather utilize it because we're not big pumpkin and squash kind of people, except for zucchini. I'd rather utilize it for other things, so that's what I'm going to do. The largest of the beds, I began with potatoes here because we do eat a lot of potatoes. We like potatoes. Unfortunately, a lot of pesky critters and insects also like them. So I've had to surround them with other plants that will fight for them, such as horseradish, onion, garlic, those strong smelling plants, and herbs like thyme, sage, cilantro, and mint because they have a strong scent as well. I added nasturtiums here. That is a kind of flower. It's a low to the ground flower that helps shade the ground around and the area and make it difficult for bugs to get through to the other plants. So it kind of creates a little barrier. I have placed the more vulnerable plants in the dead center of the garden. So things like that are typically grown in rows, like bean plants, lettuces, and cabbages. Bed number 6, tomatoes and basil. You know, tomato and basil goes well together in just about any kind of meal, but apparently they also go well together in the garden. Because basil is an herb, it does protect the tomato plant, which is a juicy, sweet plant to a lot of different kind of bugs. One thing I have discovered about tomatoes, again from the experts, is to always water them at ground level rather than taking the watering can and spraying even a little bit onto the leaves, because apparently the vine does not like getting wet. There is certain diseases that the plant will get from too much moisture. Bed number 7. This bed is on the side of the garden shed, and I thought it would be a good place for some kind of viney zucchini. I also placed nasturtium here to protect them as well. Bed number 8. Going to try Brussels sprouts here with the calendula to protect them. I like roasting Brussels sprouts. I know it's kind of a controversial vegetable, but I like it. 9th and final bed. This is another small one that I thought would be great to contain a bush-like berry, because as of right now I don't have anything super sweet except for tomatoes, and if you want to consider lime sweet, I guess, but I don't really have any other kind of fruit. I don't like growing fruits generally because they are fussy. They're fussy to take care of, and then who knows if another animal will get to it first. I thought about growing the bush-like blackberry here because I know it grows a lot of berries. It's pretty hardy, and it is a pretty small bed, so it's only enough space to plant one bush-like plant. So I thought it would do pretty well here. I am adding tansy flowers around it as well to keep it safe from the bad bugs. I'm okay if the birds get to it first, but I don't want it to become diseased from bugs. So that's why I'm putting the tansies there. Okay, so now the garden layout is finally done. I researched which plants need the earliest preparation, which is surprisingly, I didn't know, but a lot of them are in January. So I was like, ooh, I have to get on this pretty quickly because it is December right now. The plants needing the earliest prep are cauliflower, scallions, bok choy, calendula, cabbage, and the cosmos flowers. These all have the best success if they are a little more babied and planted indoors at the first of the year. So I have already ordered those. They have arrived, so I will look forward to planting those in January in a little plant nursery and see how they do. It is definitely fun having a 3, almost 4-year-old daughter, so she can kind of join in on this. It can be educational, and I'm just so blessed and excited that I get to do this with her, and hopefully she will grow an interest in gardening as well and learn to appreciate what farm to table looks like and the effort and passion involved in it, and maybe she'll appreciate different foods more. So thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to post the next video and for you guys to follow me on this gardening journey. Hope you all have a great new year and that you had a Merry Christmas. Bye.